Hey Internet, today we're going to do another video of me just standing here talking to you and talking to my iPhone. But that's okay. Hopefully you guys will find this interesting. Today we're going to talk about just some kind of interesting snake facts. So, we're not going to talk about the world's smallest, the world's longest, the heaviest, just kind of interesting, just different things that went, I didn't know that. And today we're going to talk about just different ones. And we're going to start off with the Brahminy, I think it's Brahminy, the Brahminy blind snake. Those snakes they're a type of blind snake or the thread snake where that specific one isn't the smallest in the world, but it's a tiny, tiny little one. It looks like a limp, dark piece of spaghetti. I can't talk today. Of spaghetti. It looks like an actual worm or like a little night crawler. They're tiny, but the most interesting thing about this species is that they are 100% female. They all reproduce through parthenogenesis. Now, parthenogenesis is this thing that happens kind of throughout the animal kingdom. It's been seen in some fish and amphibians and reptiles and shrimp. And who knows, maybe eventually other animals can do it too. But parthenogenesis is something where the female of a species will cycle herself, develop follicles or eggs, and give birth on their own without ever having ever coming in contact with the opposite sex. Essentially, usually they're all basically little clones of that previous one, although evidently in a species, in one of the subspecies of copperheads, I believe it was copperheads, that a female produced parthenogenesis babies that were male, and they actually survived. But we're not going to talk about that right now. But the Brahminy blind snake, it's an entirely parthenogenesis species. So every single member that exists of the species are all female, and they all just keep respawning themselves over and over again, which is even more scary and crazy if you think about how much they look like a little worm. Next, did you know that the bald eagle wasn't actually America's first national symbol or first animal mascot or animal symbol? It was actually the timber rattlesnake. I really can't talk today. The timber rattlesnake is found in the northeastern part of the United States. Their range does go down pretty far south, and then they're kind of referred to as canebrake rattlesnakes, but they're basically the same species. There's argues about taxonomy or whatever may have you. But the timber rattlesnake, Benjamin Franklin really, really liked timber rattlesnakes. He thought they were kind of this embodiment of what he wanted the nation to be, where it was, there's this little animal that it just wants to do its own thing, wants to be left alone. But if you provocate, if you poke it, you don't want to be messed with when this thing comes firing back. And so the Benjamin Franklin really liked the idea of the timber rattlesnake, and that's where that "don't tread on me" symbol comes from, and why even some branches of the military today still have a snake on their insignia, is because that harkens all the way back there. So the next time that you see a rattlesnake or a snake and you go, "Ugh, gross," remember, you're insulting America. And I don't know why I did this to myself. I just picked a bunch of words that I have no idea really how to pronounce them. But next up is a term called aestivation. And aestivation, at least I pray to God I'm saying that right, is kind of the opposite of brumation. So we've probably heard the term brumation thrown around a little bit, or at least it's kind of like, I've heard of that before, where it's what a lot of snakes do, and reptiles in general, where they don't actually hibernate, but brumation is where they it's very similar. They'll slow down their intake, their metabolism slows down, they really don't eat at all, they just kind of hunker down. And that happens a lot with more like the temperate climate. So our native North American species like rattlesnakes and garter snakes and corn snakes and stuff, they'll brumate, where come fall, when it starts to cool down, they'll stop eating, They go find a nice place underground or under something where their temperature stays above freezing, but nowhere near what they would be if they were actively out and moving around and hunting for prey. And they will brumate over the winter. Aestivation, or I think it's pronounced aestivation, is where in hot climates like in Africa, where when it gets so hot out, it's dangerous for the snake to be out in that temperature extreme, where they will hunker down underground where it's cooler, and they will wait out those hot, dry climates. So like the African rock python, during the middle hottest part of the dry season in Africa, you won't see African rock pythons. They're hunkered down, they're buried down, because it's dangerous for them to be out in the hot sun like it would be for our garter snakes to be out in the middle of the freezing winter. This one's not so crazy. The common garter snake here in North America is actually the most common and widespread of any snake in North America. So a lot of species in general, but here in America too, their habitats have been broken apart by habitat fragmentation, where even though there's still sections of habitat for them to be in, a new apartment complex up, a new mall, a new Macy's, they come up and they divide or fragment these different habitats, which makes it impossible for members of the species to move into new habitats and find mates and find good places to breed. So we're losing species like that. But the garter snake is actually so well adapted and so widespread that it's one of the few species that's doing really well still, and is so common that its populations are actually still maintaining really well, to where we don't have to even really think about that being in danger of population loss. So in contrast to the super common garter snake, the rarest snake in the world is the St. Lucia racer. The St. Lucia racer is this small, well, it's not a small, but it's a racer, so it's a colubrid, fast-moving diurnal species found in St. Lucia, where their population is so small, they estimate the population to be somewhere between 18 and 100 just individuals. So that's the rarest snake in the world. And last, but I don't think least, is about the green anaconda. So we all know about the anacondas, and if you know a little bit more about them, even though them just being giant snakes, you'll know that they're incredibly sexually dimorphic. And what that means is that there is an actual physical difference between males and females. So like with mallard ducks, the boys have the green bright head, females are kind of dull and drab to kind of blend in and protect the nest. With anacondas, the females are significantly larger. So any giant specimen that you've ever seen in a zoo or on another YouTube video, it's always a female. They have to be so much larger because they have incredibly large live litters. So anacondas are a boa species, which means they're vivarious, so they give live birth just like humans do. And because they have so many, and because they're kind of larger babies, females have to be huge. And what's happened is that there's this weird thing that happens with mating, where a lot of males, and really in all species, kind of jockey to impress the female to be the one to mate. Like some birds will do like little dances, and a lot of snake species will combat. Like we've seen like the pictures of like the rattlesnakes, they kind of rear up and they just kind of dance around and move a little bit. But what anacondas do is the males are so much smaller, they'll actually, multiple animals, up to 12 have been recorded, will all kind of curl around the end of the female and all over the female into what they call a mating ball, where they all just kind of rile around and fight and all try to mate with the female anaconda. And it looks absolutely insane, because you have all these really small males just all over this humongous female, all kind of fighting and wriggling. There's never any like fighting, and they're not trying to eat each other, all just trying to get to mate with the female. And the crazy thing about this giant mating ball is that not only have there been up to 12 males recorded at a time trying to mate with one female, the longest time that a mating ball has ever been recorded actually lasting was almost a month, which is just insane to think about. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I know, once again, it's just me standing here, but hopefully I threw up some interesting facts that you found interesting. Maybe you didn't know about them. Please like and subscribe if you can. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. If there was anything else that you wanted to know about, or any ideas for the future, or if you want to ever be part of the videos, if you're interested in doing something like that, let me know down in the comments. Message us on Instagram or on Facebook, jzsreptiles, the same as the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe again. Hit that bell notification if you can. It helps me out. Lets you guys know when I'm throwing out hopefully interesting content. And I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll check you next time.